Well, happy Sunday morning, folks. Good to see you here. Glad you came in. Glad to share your time on this Sunday morning. Rainy is not with us this morning again. Surprise, surprise. Her schedule's been weird, but this weekend she is at camp with Ellery, Scout Camp, so little kid camp. She's been there since Friday, and she won't be back until this afternoon. So there is no Rainy this morning, unless she somehow sneaks a call in. And I may just send her the link anyway to see if I can invite her in. Hold on. Let's do that right now, because I didn't think of that before just now. So why don't I just send her call in if you can. Boom. There it is. All right. And for all of those of you who would like to maybe call into the show, if you've got anything to talk about, I just put the link into the chat room. Keeping in mind, everyone, that Sunday is about as informal as it gets on this show. And now, I'm starting to blur the edges of what is, let's get my light readjusted, of what is a normal show and what is an informal show. Because there's always kids around, there's always people around, there's always stuff going on. Sometimes I have John and Bree across the street will walk into the show. So I expect that at any time. And so our door's always open. So John always comes in. The kids always go, "Hey, you can't just walk in." And we're like, "Yeah, you can." So, hey, good morning, everybody. Susie Q, good to see you. By the way, I hope you all have a good cup of coffee with you. And, hey, Carly Sagan, good to see you. Glad you made it in this morning. And there's Roger Rabbit as well. Good to see you, brother. Glad you made it. Audrey, from all the way out on the left coast, where it is only 7:05 a.m. on a Sunday morning. And so those of you out in east, if you think 10:05 is early, go out west. And so, Field Guy, good to see you. I drank a cup already. He said, so? I already drank a cup already, too. I'm on my second one. And so, Matt Finn, Master Finn. I enjoy the interruptions, too. They become actually a part of what goes on here, I think. And to a certain extent, anyway. And let's see, Field Guy, I did a stream completely sick that no one watched. Are you saying it was you were sick, or the stream was? It was a sick stream, man. So, I don't drink any more than 2, says Field Guy. And Field Guy, I have a question. I need to ask it in public. When I'm posting my daily show, the reminder, there's always somebody who likes it within like the first 10 seconds that it's up there. There's a like on there, and I'm like, who is that? Is that you? Because you're online most of the time. So I'm thinking that's got to be Field Guy, but I don't know that for sure. So I'm just curious. So Barry, good to see you this morning. Elder Barry. I wish my cup was filled with some Intrepid blend, courtesy of Hell's Head Coffee, says Roger Rabbit. Well, we'll get that going here. I think they're about ready to go public. I think it's public now. I think you can go click on Hell's Head Coffee. I don't think you even need the coffee. I think you just type in hellshead.com and you can get to Hell's Head Coffee. And I think they're running it like a subscription as well. You can order 1 bag a month or 10 bags a month, whatever it is, and it's like one of those auto subscriptions that comes off your card every month. And I think a good bag of beans will cost you around, I want to say $20, but it might be 18. I'm not sure. You got to go back over there and check. That's my friend Andy Dabbs, his company. And so go over and check him out. And it's good coffee. That's all I can tell you. Let's see. Remeldian, good to see you. Glad you made it in. Lucky Stone, good to see you as well. Good morning to you all and favor, he says. And Let's see. Let me just scroll like Steph Cuervo Queen. Nice to see you in here this morning. I'm glad to see you. I know you lurk back in the background quite a bit and don't always come into the chat, but it's always nice to see you when you're actually here. So, Scott Allen, good to see you, brother. I hit like ASAP. I don't know what that means. There's something in context further back. Doug Stack, good to see you. Why aren't you down at the store working this morning? It's a new store. So what are you? You're done with 2 weeks, or are you in your third week now starting, Doug? Let's see. I got to get rid of that. There you go. Boom. And who else is in here? Who else crept in this morning that I can say good morning to? And Audrey, I think I said hey. And Susie Q, Barry, Chet Eby. Hey, y'all, he says. Good to see you, Chet. Glad you made it in this morning. And for all of those of you who are new to the Sunday morning version of Intrepid Radio, it is much more informal than the daily shows. But as I said earlier, the edges are starting to blur a bit. So like my face. Look at my eyes this morning. Oh, my goodness. I've been up for, I think I woke up at like 7:30 this morning, didn't crawl out, got up about 8:10, and I've been drinking coffee and doing stuff ever since. First thing that happens when I come down the stairs every morning, the cat attacks. Meow! He's meowing for food. It doesn't matter if it's 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., or the other day, I actually slept until like 9:30. Everybody else was up except me. And I did a little sleeping in. That was 2-3 days ago. And the cat attacks me. He's like, and then he yowls at me the whole time. You know what he does when he wants food? It's because I feed him in the morning. He's conditioned to me coming down the steps, not to the time of day. So it could be 4 a.m. or 8 a.m, and he's yowling at me, and it's like, I don't feed you till 7 o'clock, cat. And but he's conditioned to when I come down the steps. And then I'll stand there, and while I'm prepping his food, because I always give him like a half a cup of the little tiny hard chunky food, mixed with a half a can of soft food, and then I mix it all up for him. So it gives him something gravy-ish with some soft tendrils of meat mixed in with his very high quality, or whatever you want to call it, health nugget food. And the whole time I'm prepping it, which takes me about 2 minutes every day, he'll be down there and he'll be banging his head on the cabinet door, waiting for me, and purring, around, push, around, push. And I'm like, settle down. This is the cat then that will prowl at night and try to find any food he can in the house. Many times, if we don't put the dog food up at night, he'll eat the dog food all night and then be begging for food in the morning. So that's my big fat black cat, Oscar du Negre, Oscar the Black. So yeah, field guy, I can agree with you there. Hey, good morning, Matthew Sainsbury. Good to have you. Beth Kirkham, nice to have you here. Good to see you this morning. I hope you have your coffee. By the way, if you need a good coffee cup, we've got the Intrepid mugs and all different kinds of other mugs over at different themes over at my Etsy page. So go on over, check it out. And we also have all the new archaeology shirts are on over there. Do I happen to have them up here? Let me see. Hang on a second. I want to show you something else anyway. While we're doing stuff here, I'm going to share my screen with you. But let me find the archaeology shirt. If you have not seen it, we've got tank tops. Oh, you know what? I can just go over to the archaeology site. Hang on a second. And I'm going to find something else too. Blah, 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 la, 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 la. There we go. All right. Let me go over here, and I'm going to share my screen. Mike Yehudi is here. Mike Yehudi! Good to see you, brother. Glad to have you here. And I'm still a little scratchy in the throat. Not scratchy, just froggy. That's been on and off for the last week now, after the 3 weeks of coughing my lungs out from whatever virus that was. So I'm just about out of it. So let me take a sip of coffee. How come I didn't get any smooches, Mike? Oh, well, that's okay. I'm not hurt deeply. All right, I'm going to share my screen with y'all. Y'all, what am I, down in Louisiana? I definitely feel better, Audrey. Just this morning, my face is tired. Look at my face. It's just like I look pasty this morning, and I got big bags under my eyes today. That's just age, though. I'm not tired. It's just age. I'm disintegrating. And let me share my screen. I want to show you something. All right. Boom, that screen, and share. Now you should be able to see my screen going infinitely into the background. I'm going to come over here. Don't tell her I showed this to you, but this is Raini's upcoming announcement. Remember she came in here with the cotton candy the other day? I don't want to steal her thunder, but that's the logo I just designed for her. So you can take a quick look at that, and I'm going to put it away fast. Boom. All right. This I wanted to show you. This is Raini wanted to get a new tattoo while she's up in Alaska. And let me fit this on the screen. And so she asked for a mother bear with 3 little bears. I was trying to get that to fill the screen without being so huge. All right, there's a way to do it with my mouse, and it's just not cooperating. There you go. Blah, blah, blah. Try it again. Fit on screen. All right, so that is that's the tattoo I designed for her yesterday. She's going to have that watercolor washi thing. And I said, the artist can have any kind of artistic license with this. This just gives him a base to go by. And so I also took the Tree of Life tattoo that Raini has on the back of her left shoulder, and which has been there since before I've known her. And so I took and I put that inside the bear. And I've got, of course, Flynn, Ellery, Rowan are the 3 little cubs. And then I said, hey, as an option, if you want me in there, boom, there's Daddy Bear. So I put myself way in the background. And not the background, behind her. Kind of like Daddy Bear back there, boom. So I wanted to show you that. And also something I want to show you, if I can get to it, without revealing any of my weirdness on here. What did I want to go to? Right here. Here's my Etsy page, by the way, folks. If you've never been to my Etsy page, this is what it looks like. And I use this. We sell shirts and cups and not too much other than shirts, hoodies, different kinds of shirts, and stuff, and mugs. I have some prints on there too of some of my Egyptian stuff, photography. I don't sell any art on there as much. Revealing my weirdness, says Scott Allen. I'm wondering what that's referring back to. So, just got a pocket watch with our son's birth time and date on it, says Matt Finn. Very nice. Did you get that for her, brother? Hey, True Divine 44. Good to see you. Now, this is the new shirt. I'm going to show you this. I'll show you it on Raini first because Raini looks better in hers. There's Raini sporting the new archaeology shirt, and it's from the book cover, which has now changed a bit. I've got the shovel on there. This is an older version of it. But there is the archaeologist shirt. Do I have this? Yeah, there it is with the shovel. And that's the logo that goes across the front of the shirt. And there's Raini modeling the shirt. And that's the women's V-neck. Audrey, you'll like the V-neck. And let me go back to the main page. Then there's the man's shirt. Now, I don't look as good as Raini, but there I am in the shirt. So the man's V-neck. The man's V-neck is different than the women's in that it has a little sleeve patch on it as well. And that little sleeve patch is just the logo from the show. So archaeology. There you go. And we also have put up tank tops. Boom, you can see them here. Tank top. And just the women's tank top so far. And we'll get a few more of those products up there if you like. And we've already had an archaeologist came in and bought one. So there you go. So I think people will like them. But there's my Etsy page. If you ever have a hankering to go take a look through and you haven't yet, because we talk about it on the show all the time, you can see all this stuff here. I'll probably do a mug for archaeology. We've got the Intrepid shirts for Intrepid Radio. Not today, Satan. We've got, that's out there. So I did my own version. That's all. Looks like that. Not today, Satan. And what else have we got? The Shakespeare shirt. If you're into Shakespeare, there's Raini modeling the Shakespeare shirt. Let's get her up there. There you go. Raini in the Shakespeare shirt. There's Shakespeare. Different colors. Blah, blah, blah. Shakespeare. Barred to the bone, it says. London, England. So let's get that out of here. I'm just showing this because I'm here and it's informal. We got Raini's UFO shirt. You all know Raini's UFO shirt. It says, hop in, loser. We're doing butt stuff. So there's Raini modeling her UFO shirt. I'm just showing these because I think you guys would like them. And there it is. Hop in, loser. We're doing butt stuff. And we got a couple of different tabs for this. We got the men's shirt, the women's shirt, and the women's fitted shirt, which is what this one is. And, there's Raini showing off the fitted shirt. Okay. Yeah, I'll take one of those, please. There you go. What else we got? Just because I'm here and I can show it off. Got the Intrepid mug. We've got the Reptilians mug. There. We've got the Son of a Patriot mug. And we got all kinds of other stuff. Patriotic stuff. Join or die. That's from the Revolutionary War era. We got the Betsy Ross flag. I stand for Betsy Ross. We got facts are stubborn things. I like this shirt. It's a lot to read on a shirt. But facts are stubborn things, and whatever may be our wishes, our inclinations, or the dictates of our passions, they cannot alter the state of facts and evidence. Boom. Thank you, John Adams. And then on the back it says, facts don't care about your feelings. They don't. That's not as flippant a phrase as you think. Facts don't give a good goddamn about your feelings. Facts are facts. We've got Scotty's 2 Commandments shirt. Let's see what Scotty's 2 Commandments. It's basically treat people the way you want to be treated. Number 2, don't be an asshole. Scotty's 2 Commandments shirt. There you go. There it is. And boy, I feel like I'm a QVC hour here, showing off my my junk here. We've got the hoodie and the horse, the shirt for Crazy Horse. Crazy Horse's quote, a very great vision is needed, and the man who has it must follow it, as the eagle seeks the deepest blue of the sky. Crazy Horse said that. We've got the Teddy Roosevelt National Park. Here is your country. Cherish these natural wonders. Cherish these resources. Cherish the history and romance as a sacred heritage. That's so small I can almost not read it. It's a sacred heritage. First to your children and your children's children, Do not let selfish men or greedy interests skin your country of its beauty, its riches, or its romance. Teddy Roosevelt said that. So that's my national parks homage to national parks and Teddy Roosevelt. And look at this. We got all kinds of stuff. And here, there's all the Christmassy stuff. There's, if you haven't seen this one, this is one of Rainey's requests as well that I did. Peace, love, light, and anal probes. And it's got the alien in the lotus position there. So that's Rainey. And we got the Reptilians shirt and the Zombie Santa tee. This was Rainey's favorite tee from last Christmas. Boom. The Zombie Santa. So there you go. That's not Rainy. And then I said I had some prints on here. Some of these are just prints of photos I took in Egypt over the years. And they're prints. They're expensive. They're framed. You can get those over on my Etsy page as well. And you can see all the different ones. Saqqara, where the step pyramid is. Esna, Egypt. Serebet el-Khadim. I talk about Serebet el-Khadim a lot. That's Serebet el-Khadim there. That's from the mountain on the opposite side of the wadi. And Serebet el-Khadim is way back in there, back behind these mountains here. So we trekked up in there to the top. And Giza and Sinai. And this is atop Serebet el-Khadim right here. So there you go. And Hatshepsut's tomb at Deir el-Bahre. There you go. And yeah, it is kind of like there's Hatshepsut right there. Picture I took of one of her statues. Boom, Hatshepsut. This one still had some of the flesh tones on it. After all those years, it was pretty amazing. And then we've got more of our patriotic stuff and more intrepid stuff. And Teddy Roosevelt shirt, the Reptilians shirt. That one's kind of fun. The secret history of the Reptilians. And what's on page 3? I'm curious. Okay, intrepid mug. Oh, okay. Just the old 45 shirts. This was back, what was this, 2 or 3 years ago. And I put that up because everybody was trying to diss, if you will, President Trump, people on the left, and they would only refer to him as 45 instead of the president. So I said, let's grab that and let's use it. 45. Heart 45. That's what that shirt was about. So there you go. There is my my Son of a Patriot page. And that's not mine. I got to get to it. There it is. So there you go. Oh, there's the Scottyisms shirt. I just will tell you about this one because it's funny. There's a story to this. It says, unabashed, supercilious Scottyite. And then it's got, I think, the website down at the bottom. Let's see. I think that's what that is. Yep, intrepidradio.com down at the bottom. And the reason I made that shirt was somebody who was trying to degrade things that I had to say, said something about, I suppose now that I've said that, all your unabashed, supercilious followers will come in. Scottyites, she called them. And so I made this shirt, unabashed, supercilious Scottyite. And I sent her one. So that's the only reason I made that, but they're available. Hi.
Hi.
Camera's not on you yet. I'm showing this stuff off. But there, we'll get back to the camera now. Now that I think that's enough showing off my Etsy page. So we'll get back over here and we'll stop the screen share. Boom. There you go. And there's Rowan down below. How you doing? Ro. So say hi. Scotty Pipe.
Hi.
This is Corey Blake. Hey, Corey. How you doing, brother? What do you mean by pipe? I'm not sure. I missed something there. So, family is great, says Matt Finn. My daughter's going to try dance classes. My little man's starting to learn his vocabulary. Boom. How's your family doing? And who else we got? Durwood says my youngest is attempting scrambled eggs. Yeah. My 11-year-old son made his own eggs the other day, which was not a first, but he doesn't do that very often. Yes.
Can I go to Annabelle and Ruby's?
It's Sunday morning.
They wake up at 8. They have a baby brother.
Sure they're not at church? It's 9:30.
I don't know. When do people get off of church at Cornerstone? Yeah.
Usually starts about now. And then they're back home probably by 11:30, 12. You can go check. But it's Sunday morning. You know, I'd give it a little time. Now that I think about it, it's Sunday morning. Wait until after 10 o'clock, and then you can go over there. So occupy yourself. Why don't you go clean up anything that's your mess out in the main room?
I'm not cleaning anything.
Bye. See ya.
I will not be cleaning.
Let's pick up your stuff that you left sitting out there.
I can't. I'm incapable of walking.
Yeah, I see that. Scrambled eggs are a great thing to start cooking. Yeah, I want the kids to start feeding themselves. We got a little bit of that going on here already. You know, there are days where we're like, hey, everybody, mom and dad don't feel like cooking nothing, not even processed food. So you're on your own. Forage. And the fridge is open. And sometimes they cook eggs, and Rowan will make ramen noodles, which don't go very far, but she likes them. Or mac and cheese.
Or noodles.
What, this morning?
Yeah.
You can make them. Just clean up your mess. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. You can make whatever you want, but I don't want to find mac and cheese all in the burners again and on the floor.
Noodles, Dad.
If you drop food on the floor, what do?
Let Lucy eat it.
You pick it up. I don't care if it's Lucy eating it or something else. Yeah, Audrey, I was disappointed to hear about Sacagaway, however you pronounce it, to hear about her statue being removed, too, until I read what her direct ancestor said. He felt she was made to look weak, and it was shameful, so I'm okay with the removal then. Who made her look weak? For all that I know about Sacagaway, I guess is the way they say it's pronounced, I have never, ever, in all my historical studies, and the Lewis and Clark expedition was actually one of my favorite periods of history, I have never seen Sacagaway made to look weak. Who made her look weak? Is that an interpretation of somebody later on? Is that an interpretation of a father or an uncle or a grandfather or whoever? I think she was an important part of the Lewis and Clark expedition. They would have died without her, I think. They wouldn't have made it. And so why would they remove that? Because some guy said something? Even an uncle? Think of your own uncles and grandfathers. Yeah, well, Audrey, yeah, she's okay, but she's really just kind of, I got my criticisms about this thing and the way people used her or whatever. That's an opinion. Is that who she was? Is that who, to any of us, she represents in history? Somebody who was made to look weak? I know there was something along the way where there were tribal problems, something with her, and where she got held up at one point by the tribe or something like that. I can't remember all the details. I'd have to go back and recap that. So, I think Sacagaway was an amazing. When we had her on the gold dollar that we had, the gold colored dollar that we have. You can still find those every now and then. And so what's the big controversy over the statue of Sacagaway? I've never seen any problem with her in history. Now, is that because, I'm just white, and so therefore I don't understand. You know what I understand is that she was an amazing woman. I understand that she is part of our history. She's part of a joint history of the United States. Let's see. Here's the article on this. Statue of Lewis and Clark in Sacagawea is toppled in Charlottesville. The city of Charlottesville decided to take down a statue featuring explorers Meriwether Lewis, William Clark, and Sacagawea. Oh, maybe I can see the interpretation in the artist's version of the statue. Is that all they're talking about? Because she's kind of crouching behind them. And is she holding the hand of Meriwether Lewis? I can't tell. And it says the city of Charlottesville followed up on its removal of two controversial Confederate statues, with the lightning fast toppling of a third local landmark. Now this was back. This was just an article from yesterday, and it's if I stop getting ads popping up in front of me. This is a New York Post article. It says the city of Charlottesville followed up on its removal of two controversial Confederate statues Saturday, with the lightning fast toppling of a third local landmark, a monumental tribute to explorers Meriwether Lewis and William Clark in Sacagawea. In an emergency meeting called within 20 minutes' notice, the Charlottesville City Council voted unanimously to cancel another piece of public art targeted by left-wing activists. I feel that it should be just melted down, Roseanne Abraham, a Sacagawea descendant, said during the council meeting. The Daily Progress report, I feel that it's entirely offensive and it should be obliterated. Within minutes, a city work crew, the same group that had dismantled the equestrian statues of General Robert E. Lee and Thomas Stonewall Jackson earlier on Saturday, arrived with ropes and a crane and pry bars to wrench the artwork off the plinth where it had stood on Charlottesville's West Main Street since 1919. It's been standing there 102 years. Local observer Molly Conger documented the process. Getting right down to business, not even taking the cherry picker off the truck, Conger wrote. Lewis, the famous American adventurer who was sent by President Thomas Jefferson to explore the land west of the Mississippi River in 1804, was a local hero born in Charlottesville's Albemarle County. The bronze statue cast to honor the Lewis and Clark expedition includes the two men and Sacagawea, their Shoshone guide and interpreter, and in recent years its design has been criticized for its portrayal of Sacagawea, who appears in a crouching position behind the standing white man, which he looks green in the statue, but which activists have seen as disparaging. But some historians contend that her posture shows her in action as a tracker, and it's not meant to place her in a subservient stance, that she's a tracker. Charlottesville's Lewis and Clark Exploratory Center has offered to take the statue, but the city council has not yet decided to accept its plan. So let's just destroy this artist's piece of work. What? Don't yell at me when I'm in here talking.
Someone's knocking
what?
on the door very weirdly.
Who?
I don't know. I'm not going to
Go answer the door. It could be John. All right. So I'm going to show you a picture of this statue, and we'll let you all decide what you think you see here. Those are the interruptions I don't like. By the way, let's yell at Dad from across the house while he's doing a broadcast. So, no, you come in here and talk to me if you got to talk to me that badly. All right. Here's the statue. I'm going to share my screen with you. You can all see what you think. You see if you think the interpretations of this are correct. Let's go back over to StreamYard, and I'm going to share my screen with you once again. Boom, boom, share. Let's go back over here. Now, there is the statue that has been now torn down just yesterday. And Lewis and Clark and Sacagaway. And they say, this is not a high resolution, so I'm sorry, it's going to look fuzzy on your screen. They say it looks like she's in a subservient position. Someone else said she's crouched down like a tracker. Now, you be the judge of that. So what you've got there is the statue that has now been pulled down due to all the wokeness that is out there. And can't show her crouching. Does she have to be out front of them standing? I don't know. I don't know what would be an acceptable statue of Sacagaway. So there you go. There's the statue that was torn down just yesterday. I'm going to stop sharing. There you go. Let's see. What are opinions on that? So there you go. Crouching to inspect tracks is now cowering behind whites. These SJW, where'd that go? I got to put that up. These SJWs will never be satisfied because they aren't satisfied with themselves. Boom. That's the point. Exactly, Matt. Is that people who have to place themselves in the position of trying to decide for everybody else what should be offensive or not offensive. It's only offensive if you appropriate offense from it. It's not offensive. The same woman who is complaining about this could say, I don't like the depiction, but it's at least honoring her. There she is, a Native American foremother, if you will, founding mother, if you will, of Native America that helped the whites survive this grueling expedition. There's a statue with her. And she's honored. She's commemorated. I don't like the position she's in because some might interpret it as this or some might interpret it as that, but at least she's there. It could have been her response. But no, she's got to be offended. We've got to be offended. Let's take offense. So,
Can I talk to you now?
I am doing a show.
Can I go to church with Annabelle and Ruby?
Go ahead, go.
Bye.
Dress in something nicer than play clothes.
These aren't play clothes.
All right, are they leaving now?
15 minutes.
Okay, yep, go ahead and go.
Oh, and then after we're going to a parade. Is that okay?
I was going to take you and Flynn to the parade. So I'm glad you're doing all your business right now. So
who am I going with to the parade? You or them?
Why don't you come with us?
Okay.
Or I'll just take Flynn.
Okay.
And you go with them. I was going to go to the carnival with you guys too. So if you want to go with them, go ahead. You're going to do the parade and the carnival.
I'll
So.
go with you to the parade then, Dad, okay?
All right. Just conduct all our business. There's no concept. Not that this is formal and like I have advertisers to please or anything, but it's like, come on. So, or maybe I'm just a stick in the mud. That's it. Maybe that's it. Let's see. I'm looking at some of your posts on this. One white man is higher than the other. Must mean Lewis is more important than Clark, or vice versa. I don't know which is which. I think you're right there, Lucky Stone. Yeah. One of them is obviously better than the other one. I think Lewis was the guy in front. I think Clark was the other one. Or it might be the other way around. I can't tell who is who in this statue. It's very stylized, isn't it? I think Lewis and Clark was tall. Lewis was the tall one, Meriwether Lewis. And, what's interesting about Meriwether Lewis that most of us know, they say he committed suicide. Now, there's conspiracy theory about that he was murdered because he shot himself twice in the chest. Yes, what can I do for you?
Is it okay if they just drive me to the parade and then we meet you there?
I don't know where we're going to be, and you're trying to figure that out while I'm doing this. So why don't you just come over here? unless you're going straight to the parade from there. Everything in this town is 5 minutes away from each other.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
why don't you just, if they're going right to the parade, then go with them. Then we'll find you.
Yeah, because I want to go to the
All right? The city is a whole 4 blocks long. All right. And so Meriwether Lewis committed suicide. And he was, they say that a diagnosis of him from history is that he would be, by today's standards, he would be manic depressive. And that he eventually killed himself. But I'd also heard that there is some talk that there was a conspiracy theory behind that. So he's a moron, and everyone is obeying his wish. That's what's wrong. I missed something there. Let's see. Those swords on the wall I find aggressive, says Matt Finn, and a form of toxic masculinity. And I would like you to remove them because I'm not comfortable with the visual. And of course, your comfort level is what everybody else should be about. What you're comfortable with, what you're offended by, and so on. We live in a big pussy-fied nation that we have to live and practice and do everything based on who's going to be offended by it or not be offended by it. And that angers me about this kind of stuff. That offends me. Well, so don't look at it. You know, you don't have to go worship at the statue of Lewis Clark in a crouching Sacagawea. Who cares? If you're offended, don't look at the statue. But you got to remove it because everybody else should be as offended as you. I'm offended, so I got to prove to everybody else that everybody else needs to be just as offended as I am. For my reasons and my reasoning and my interpretation. Go to hell. I'm so sick of it. I've had it. I've had enough wokeness to fill the rest of my life. Matt Finn says, problem is any generation can find fault in a previous remaining in a constant state of historical nihilism. We'll lose all our true history. That's very true. Everything has to fit a mold. Everything has to be polished. You know, the Third Reich did that too. Everything had to have a certain look, a certain way. You are never more fascist than when you say what offends me needs to offend the populace, and so we're going to remove it from everybody's eyes. I think Charlottesville is stupid for doing what they did. Even Confederate statues. If you have a general consensus that Confederate generals ought to be removed and put into a museum or into a certain park, this is our Confederate park now. Don't go in there if you don't want to be offended by the visage of General Robert E. Lee on a horse. Then go ahead and do it that way. But eradicating history, you know who does that? ISIS did that. They would go in and eradicate history because it didn't fit their version of history. And that it was the work of evil. It was anti-Allah to have statues in some of these cities that they tore down the statues. So to fit their religion, and that they were offended by the statues, which they called pagan statues, heathen statues, so they tore them down. So the rest of the public wouldn't be as offended as they were. So instead of dealing with the high crime rate, Lander removed Confederate statues in New Orleans. But the crime is still bad, says Durwood. Yep, exactly. There you go. Crime's still there. But you got to make people feel good. Got to make them feel good from one perspective. All of the communists did the same. Yep, they perverted historical context. And they sparked a revolution. Exactly. Take that Moloch statue down, says Elderberry. There it is. Do that. They took down statues. They put them in a warehouse to rot. That's right, field guy. That's what they did. And True Divine says, hey, Yeoman, by the way, good to see you. Miss your face. I have an ignorance of the history here, but I don't think the designer of the statue would ever dream it would be seen this way. Yeah, that's 100 years ago. What was his reason for that? Now, you've all seen my action figures, which I think are still right here. Yeah, they are. I'm going to show these again because we're on the topic. Hold on, because I got them right here. Boom. All right. Here you go. Let's take a look at these. See this? These were action figures, if you hadn't seen these in the past, that were done up by a guy that it was a personal project of his. He was doing the reenacting when we would do the 42nd Royal Highlanders. This guy reenacted certain elements of the Cora Discovery, the Lewis and Clark expedition. And he made, out of his own pocket, he designed these action figures. Now I'm going to try to do this. I got to tip it so the light doesn't shine right off of it. And reflect. This is Meriwether Lewis. You can see him there. And you can see, if I can get the light to not be so bad, all the things he had made. The different muskets, the diaries, the journals, the hatchets, the haversack down here at the bottom. The oar, the canoe, his hat, all of this stuff. So he did this up. This is Meriwether Lewis. And let me find a place to set this down. And then you have Captain William Clark. He did the same for him. So here's Captain William Clark. And he's got all of his papers and his maps. And if I was to take this out, if I was to undo this and take out this journal right here, all these maps are miniatures of some of the maps of William Clark. And his sextant is down here, and his musket and his swords, his eyeglass, telescope, things like that. Again, the reflection does not do that justice. My young son Sam, I've had these since Sam, who is now 20, was a little kid. And he wanted for years to take these out of the boxes. Said, no, I'm keeping them in the boxes. If I took those out of the boxes 15 years ago, you know where all these pieces would be? Gone. So there's Captain Clark. And then, of course, he also did Sacagawea or Sacagawea. And this is hers. And she didn't have a lot of gear, so there wasn't quite as much stuff. But she did have a baby along the way. This has been on its side, so her pigtails have kind of fallen to the side there. But there she is. There's Sacagawea, and her little baby in his, whatever they called this carrier. And some of her things, she has a pouch, a couple of pouches. She had a mirror, and she had a dagger. And so that's of her. And there's the artwork he had done of her. That was the prototype for the figure. So there you go. And there's a rich history. If you want to read a good book, Undaunted Courage by Stephen Ambrose about the Lewis and Clark expedition. Amazing historical account. So I don't know when she died. Yeah, it's a papoose is the baby, but the carrier is what I wasn't quite sure what they called those. So eyeglass, glass eye. I think it was the telescope, Durwood. So eyeglass, whatever they called them, spyglass. So, and under the wrong context, the many Holocaust museums around the U.S. would look like a shrine to Nazi political party. But knowing the intent of the curators, you know it's not. Exactly. And so Field Guy knows where the statues are down in Louisiana, New Orleans. Oops, I clicked on the wrong one because it's constantly moving. There you go. He knows exactly where. Clark adopted her son, I believe. Matthew says. I don't know. Can look that up, I'm sure. And so, tearing down statues is a joke, says Steele. I agree with you, brother. There's Randall, folks. Tearing down statues is a joke, especially when you consider the fact that it does nothing to change the heart of the matter. Exactly. It's a superficial thing. Now, are there statues and art that can be offensive to people? Hell yeah. Do we eliminate and look at the things that we pick and choose to eliminate and over what topics? Confederacy. You got to eliminate the Confederacy. People can't remember the Confederacy. You can only read about it in a book, but you can't. The people could not be commemorated. And this was looking beyond. Remember what Ulysses S. Grant said at Appomattox when the surrender from Robert E. Lee took place in the little house at Appomattox Courthouse, where you can still visit that house today. I was there with Raini. Well, it was about 15 years ago, but we went and visited there 14 years ago. You can still go down there and see the room and the chairs and the table where the surrender was signed. And in this little town, as Robert E. Lee rode off on his horse, leading his column of troops out, they had surrendered, and the Union soldiers began jeering them, cheering the surrender, but jeering the troops, mocking them. And Ulysses S. Grant called out to them, and he ordered them to stop. And he said, "The rebels are again our countrymen," he told them. And so when there were statues commemorating these generals, it's because they were great men in the United States before the Civil War. They established their greatness during the Civil War, even though they lost, and they represented a cause that divided the nation. But then they were emancipated and brought back in to the fold. They were not thrown in jail. They were not killed. And the commemorations were for the individuals, the kind of people that they were in their core. We've talked about this before. It's such a ridiculous issue, tearing down statues. And now we're tearing down a statue that showed a Native American woman that guided the Corps of Discovery on the Lewis and Clark expedition, tearing it down because somebody didn't like the pose she was in. It's offensive. And I will say once again what I've reiterated on this show many times. You cannot be offended unless you allow yourself to be offended. You have to appropriate offense in order for it to do its dirty work. You know why you can't offend me? Because I don't appropriate offense. You can only offend somebody if they choose to be offended. If this woman who had a problem with the statue and the crouching Sacagaway, if she chose to not be offended by that, you know what? There'd be no offense. I can't say that she is really offended by it. Who's really offended? I'm so offended. She's not offended. She's politically angry. Political anger is not offense. I take offense at that statue. The statue didn't do anything to you. You've created your own offense. So there it is. Yep, Randall. Boom, Randall. So they can't see the bigger picture. To their cognitive dissonance. So says Matt Finn. Matt Finn, you are so on mark with this. Beth Kirkham says, nobody's offended, just tired of being on the wrong side of history. I'm not sure, Beth, who you mean. Does she feel she's on the wrong side of history? When you had a nation that was built by mostly European whites, utilizing slavery, utilizing whatever, stealing land from Native Americans and so on. Is that, I'm not sure if, is that what you mean by that? So, just tired of being on the wrong side of history. Well, I think it was the right side of history to, even 100 years ago, show a Native American woman at all in certain settings. Maybe that was the way he had to do that to appease the thinking of the day. I don't know. Maybe she was tracking. I would think she'd have had a hand to the ground if she was tracking, but that's one of the interpretations. She was crouched because she was a tracker. Why would the artist, do you think, take Sacagaway and put her in a crouching position, holding the hand of Meriwether Lewis, or Clark, I think it was? Why would the artist put her in that position? What do you think the thinking of the artist was to place her in that position? I don't know. Was it to show that she was subservient to the man? Maybe all women should be offended, not Native American women, all women, because this is showing the subservience of woman to a man. Maybe that's what we should be offended about. Now there's going to be debate and controversy over what we should be offended about. Just be offended. Remove it. What bothers me, what offends me, is that the city removed it. I don't think there was even discussion about it. They removed it because they were removing 2 other statues. So, yeah, she was tracking. That was the idea. I'm looking at the statue here again, right now, in front of me. Is she bowing to the white man? I am going to see if there's a better, more resilient picture of this to see if we can. Let's see. Let's find a high-res picture of this statue and see if we can't look at it. There are other statues of her around the country too, by the way. Here, let's look at these. I'm going to share my screen with you again. Let's find it. Let's share the screen. Let's take a look at some of these, okay? Shall we? Let's go over here. Here, I've called up, I just did a Google search on the statue itself. Hopefully one that's a little larger. Let's take a look at this angle. Hold on. I'm going to back that up. Let's just open the image in a new tab. Okay. There she is. She's holding the hand of, I think, Clark. And she's looking down toward the ground. That's one angle. There is, let's take a look at this version. Open the image. Is she looking subservient? Is she his slave? Is that why he's holding her hand? I thought he was holding her hand because he cared about her. Why is he holding her hand? Should we be offended by that? There are other statues of Sacagawea as well. Here's another shot of the statue. Open the image. And it's too dark. You can't really see what's going on there. But let's see. This is another shot of a different statue, and it's in one of those pay for the image sites, but that's a pretty cool statue of her, I think. Now, there's nothing offensive. She's not showing her subservience to a white man. I think it's somebody who just has to make their point to complain about something. It's another statue of Sacagawea. This is at the Columbia River. Let's see. Let's open the image in a new tab so we can maybe blow it up. Nope, that's as big as it is. I like that. She's pointing the way. Wesley says she looks like someone realizing all her lands and all her belongings and all her lifestyle is going to be removed. Does she know that yet, though, at that point? Is that what they think about the whites who were just stumbling and staggering into their territory? We're talking 1805 was the Cora discovery. That's a good thought, Wesley. But would she have actually been thinking that at that point? What's your purpose for being here? So I'm not seeing many of the, what's this 50-foot statue? Okay, that's that statue. Big 50-footer. Let's go back. I want to find this one in Charlottesville and see if there's any better depictions of her. Here's another Sacagawea statue. There you can see. This one's in North Dakota. It says a Sacagawea, member of the Lewis and Clark expedition, 1804 to 1806 is what it says about her. Doesn't even name her tribe. I'm offended because it didn't name her Shoshone tribe. Is going to say some Shoshone. Take it down. The point I'm making is that anybody can find anything to be offended about or over or regarding. The question is, should somebody's offense, or even a small group of people who are, say they're offended, should that dictate the day all the time? In a woke society like ours, of course it should. We're woke. You can't offend anybody. I'm offended by Joe Biden. Take him out of office. What if somebody said that? Should they remove him from office because somebody's offended? If somebody brought up the point, well, we think that he has... I got flies in here, I'm sorry, and they just keep buzzing my face. If somebody said, I'm offended at Joe Biden because of the allegations of sexual impropriety or hair sniffing or whatever, and I'm offended by that, should they then remove him from office because one person's offended, or a group of people are offended, or 60 million people are offended? See, it doesn't work across the board. It only works on certain things. Iconic pieces of art, statuary, things you can get away with. I want to show my angst and my offense. And it's really not offense. It's my political anger. And I'm going to have that thing removed because I'm truly offended by it. Yeah, it might be a false comparison, Beth. We vote. Sure. But couldn't the people vote to keep the statues or take them down? Did they conduct a vote over that? No, it was over one person's offense. So just taking the issue of removing something because we are offended by it, does that work? That's the point I'm making. I'm not ignoring electoral process. I'm saying, should something be removed because we disagree with it, or we dislike it, or it angers me, it has offended me, therefore we should get rid of it? That's the point I'm making. I don't know that they didn't vote. It said that the city council discussed it. That's what the articles have said. So, did the people of Charlottesville, did they have a referendum on the statues that were removed? Who decided? Who made the decision? I could type in an answer question. Who made the decision to remove statues in Charlottesville? If I spell that right. Who made the decision? Let's find out. This is The Guardian. Monuments to Stonewall Jackson are taken down. Robert E. Lee, the statue that helped spark a violent white supremacist rally. What a bunch of bull and shit put together. Jesus. People want you to know what they want you to know, not what really happened. Didn't spark a violent white supremacist rally. You know who sparked a violent white supremacist rally? Not statues. It was the people who committed acts of violence. That's who did it. Individual responsibility. The statue is an inanimate object that did absolutely nothing. It could have been utilized by one side or the other to make their point. It's a neutral thing. The mayor gave a speech in front of the public. Taking down the statue is one small step closer to the goal of helping Charlottesville, Virginia, and Americans grapple with the sin of being willing to destroy black people for economic gain. There you go. Who made that decision? Here you go. Bryant. The statues were toppled more than 5 years after calls for their removal began to gain momentum. Zayana Bryant, then 16 years old, was given an assignment that asked her to describe something she could change. She started a petition to remove the statue of Lee. It was a petition. Bryant tweeted on Saturday, "My work here is done." In response to Bryant's 2016 petition, the city council had set up a commission on race, memorials, and public spaces. In February of 2017, the council voted for removal, angering white supremacist groups. Are those the only people who were mad? Or is this article slanted? Were the only people disturbed by the removal of these statues white supremacist groups? Thank you, The Guardian, for specifying that for us. This is called biased news reporting, slanting the media to make you think the way they want you to think. In February 2017, the council voted for removal, angering white supremacist groups. Well, maybe it did. But they make it sound like that's the only people who were against this and the only people angered by the removal of statues. So it was the city council who voted to have the statues removed. There you go. City council did it. And city council did it, and now the media is saying that if you were against that or angered by that, you're a white supremacist. Because only white supremacists were angered at the removal of these statues. I was angered because it's a removal of history. No matter what your belief is about who the person in the statue was representing. Let's see. So, yeah, who knows? They are statues of losers, says Beth Kirkham. I don't know. Yeah, they are. But aren't they statues of the individuals, not of the army? Not of the Confederate cause, but of Robert E. Lee, of Stonewall Jackson? These people were very respectable people. And they were recognized by the government of the United States as re-emancipated back into the Union. The rebels are again our countrymen, said Ulysses S. Grant. What were they celebrating by putting up statues of them? Were they celebrating the cause of the Confederacy, or were they celebrating the heroic nature of these men who actually did something that was constitutionally allowed? They rebelled against their government. So there's big questions, lots of questions to be asked, lots of ways to interpret it. But we can overthink ourselves into a corner as well. So they were monsters. I don't know about that. I think there were some who were monsters. Corey Blake, who do you mean? Very poor understanding of history. You mean the people who want the statues taken down, or those who are against the taking down of statues? The white supremacists, you know. All us white supremacists. I'm not a white supremacist, by the way. I'm a human supremacist. Should we tear down the statues of everyone who's done something that's morally wrong? Asks Randall. That's a good question. Well, the answer might come back, Randall, say, no, maybe just those who led a war against our union. You know, there's an answer around everything. The question is, are these truly offensive to anybody? No, they angers them politically because of the political wokeness that's out there now, the wave that has hit, the tidal wave, tsunami of wokeness that has hit our country. Elderberry, of all those generals on both sides were good classmates before the Civil War. All were stationed at Springfield, Missouri. That's very true. One guy went one way, one guy went the other way. They've weaponized the ever-changing moral goalposts, says Matt Finn. I agree. As a sculptor, I can't be offended. I can, however, become ill. I think, well, how do you define ill, Wes? Would that be, are you offended? Or does it anger you? Makes you ill. Is that how you mean that? Randall says, by morally wrong, I mean cheating, lying, murdering, etc. Yeah, we've got them. Can any of us name a single sitting president that has not got something morally wrong in his background? Maybe Jimmy Carter, but he was also ineffectual. He had nothing. That was like, let's bring a little pop culture into it. Remember the original Star Trek series? You knew I'd hit Star Trek. The episode The Enemy Within. A dumb concept, but it made some strong points in the show. It's where the transporter malfunction divided Kirk into two people, his good side and his bad side. It was just a science fiction vehicle to talk about what if you could separate the good from the bad in your nature. And they showed that Kirk, the kind Kirk, the good Captain Kirk, lost his command ability when he lost his darker nature. That it was his darker nature that was able to help him be in command. But he had to control those things. He had to bring them in together. So it's interesting. Steph says you need to have those statues show the history that had happened so we teach others to learn from it so it will never happen again. We need to teach and learn from the past. Agreed. What did these guys stand for? They stood for the Confederacy. They fought for the Confederacy. They became upstanding men again in our country after the Civil War. Some of them were killed in the Civil War, though. Jeb Stuart and so on. Thank you, Corey Blake. I love Star Trek. I think there's always a good lesson to be learned from Star Trek. And its real-life application. There it is. That's exactly what it was. That's what it was meant to be when it was written. That's why I like Star Trek so much. So, we won't solve the problem here. We're just talking about it, ranting about it. expressing ourselves about it. Do I need more light or less light? Ooh, that washes me out. Boy, boom. My lights. I'm just pasty today, I think. That's what it is. I'm pasty. My face is tired. I'm just getting old. That's all it is. Just getting older. That's the way my face looks. It only on rare occasions doesn't look so old and puffy and white and pasty and baggy-eyed. Helene says in northern France, they kept the pillboxes in the NSDAP structures. And when I asked my indigenous Breton guides, they said they never want to forget because the French government invited the invasion. There it is. There's that. Boldly going where no man has gone before. Absolutely. Boldly going. Do you know that was the initial tag for Intrepid magazine when I launched it? Before Intrepid Radio, there was Intrepid magazine, and it was boldly going. As a matter of fact, oh, there it is. It's even on the mug, because this was the old logo. Boldly going for Intrepid. So there you go. Audrey says, put the statues in museums. So if people want to learn about them, they can. It's okay not to have them out in the public if they're in museums. That's true. So I said, if you want to take them down out of the public park, go ahead and put them in the museum. Don't melt them down. And you know what? If a given city votes to have them or wants to have them in the public square, keep them in the public square. A lot of controversy. Would that be like having statues of some of the British officers in the United States? Art commemorating them from the American Revolution? Could we have a statue of General Cornwallis in the United States, or would people be offended by that because he represented tyranny? Or was Cornwallis an honorable man? Just thought the colonies belonged to England and the king. I don't think he cared. I think he wanted land in the Americas. So, and Susie Q says, seriously, the people that weren't there at the time of the statue being commissioned have nothing to say about the reasoning behind it. I agree. We can render opinions about it. Sure, I would say you can do that. They want to hide history, says Lewis Boyce. I think you might be right, Lewis. They want to hide our history. Steph says, so if they put up a monument of Floyd, no one is to be offended? Let's see. I believe he had a past, and now we have a day dedicated to remember him in Massachusetts. People actually get a paid day off. See, I happen to think that that's stupid and it's dumb. Shouldn't have a statue to a criminal. You got George Floyd Square right here in Minneapolis with big statues and a square that's dedicated to him now. And so would the reverse work? Could I go say, I'm offended by the fact that you've taken a criminal and made him into a public figure that should be honored by a statue and a public square? Wesley says, do you want a Cornwallis? I got a Cornwallis. You want a Hiawatha? I got a Hiawatha. You want a William Shatner? I got a Maud. And so, yeah, all of that. I get your point. So there's a great statue of Hiawatha carrying Minnehaha here in Minneapolis. And he's got her in his arms. And let's see, a statue of Hiawatha carrying Minnehaha. find it. Let's see if they get an image of it here. I'm sure they do. Here it is. I'm going to call this up, and I'm going to choose the. I want to show you this picture. All right, here it is. Let's open the image in a new tab, and it's not very big. I'm going to have to go back and look for it in a larger size. But well, forget it. I'm not going to waste the time doing that. But here, I want to show you this picture. This is a statue right here in Minneapolis. I'm going to share my screen once again. Boom, boom. Let's go over here. Here is the statue of Hiawatha carrying Minnehaha across the creek. Now, could somebody... Well, now I lost it. Hold on. Let's go to Google. And let's... Hiawatha carrying Minnehaha, Minneapolis. There. That's enough search criteria. And we're going to go large so we can maybe take a look at these a little better. Here you go. Here's the statue. Bang. Let's open it in a new tab so we can see it. And of course, why does it say it's 4,000 pixels, but then you can't actually look at it in 4,000 pixels? Because it's licensed. Watch this. See, it says 4,000 by 6,000, which is huge. Comes up like this, and you can't enlarge it. So let's see if we can just do it this way. This is the setting, by the way. Open that image. There's the setting. That's Shingle Creek, and it goes to Minnehaha Falls in Minneapolis. This is a big city park. It looks very wooded here. This is just a little segment. Behind you, when you're standing here looking at this statue, it's all parks and ball fields and shelters and busy streets and stuff like that. It looks very secluded, but it's not. But there's the statue of Hiawatha carrying Minnehaha. And let's see if we can find a better picture of that. Let's just click on that and see if we can get to it and open it up any bigger so you can see the details. Well, there's the statue. Hiawatha Minnehaha statue before its 1912 placement at Minnehaha Park. Let's see if we can open that up. Open the image in a new tab. Yeah, it's small. So there you go. That's the statue. Maybe this will open it up into a larger image. Let's find out. But you get the idea. Now, can somebody be, do you think, could somebody very possibly be offended by this statue? Because it's a man having to carry a bare-breasted woman? Because that woman is wholly incapable of crossing the stream by herself. Maybe we should put the crouching Sacagawea behind him. So there you go. All right, let's go back to the main screen. If I can find it. Where the hell is it? Boom, 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 boom. Lewis Clarkson. Right there. All right. Stop screen share. So you get the point. There it is. How do they get those statues so perfect? I mean, they were really good artists. They were. Same with the Lewis and Clark Sacagawea statue. Good artist. I want to see that Virgin space plane is doing. See you next mission. Live long. Buy really good hiking boots. Wes. Audrey must be gone. Bye, everyone. Bye, Scotty. Bye, Audrey. Corey Blake says, I think it's a little frightful how people can become so entrenched in debate that they lose respect for the opposing viewpoint, to the point of wanting to exclude them from the playground. That's exactly what's going on with all this. We're going to turn you off. We're going to make sure you're not part of the debate anymore. So, anyway, there you go. I think we've exhausted that point. No, we haven't. We haven't exhausted the point. Talked about it enough. Let's put it that way. Audrey had to run. I think people are getting ready to go out into their days. It's 10:30 in the morning here, 11:30 out east. It's 8:30 out west. So I think we're going to kind of wrap this up for today. Helene says, first link Banks's design for keeping the statue to please everyone and highlight the slavery. Second link Baden-Powell statue on the pool in Dorset. Pool Dorset. I have to look into that. Read up on Mao and the CCP's takeover of China. Absolutely. What did they do? They eradicated people's culture. You know, I just watched Josh Gates' Expedition Unknown. And I was binge watching that. I watch one or two of those when I sit down and eat lunch or something, when I've got time. And he was in China, Mongolia. Went to, I can't remember the name of the city where he was, but Genghis Khan. What do you think of Genghis Khan? He's all over Mongolia. He's all over the capital city there. And, from Genghis Khan soda to Genghis Khan this, Genghis Khan that, and the big statues, the huge statue of Genghis Khan out in the middle of the wilderness. It's unbelievable the way they honor Genghis Khan. And he went looking for the tomb of Genghis Khan, because I think the reason he did it was because it's supposed to be a forbidden place to go. Does it actually exist? Nobody knows where he was buried. Genghis, which is pronounced Shinggis over there, Shinggis Khan, he left orders for over 1,000 years ago for his people, or about 1,000 years ago, I think it was, for his people to keep it secret. And he appointed one of the local clans to be a guardian of his tomb. And you know what? That clan still exists today, and they are still the guardians of the secrets of his tomb. You wander into the forbidden area where his tomb is supposed to be, a sacred mountain, you can get beat up and killed. It's very interesting. But the hold that Genghis Khan still has on Mongolia today, yet you look back in history, he was a monster. He was a tyrant. But it depends on what point of view you're coming from. So, anyway, Matt Finn says there are many correlations to these cultural issues. The forcing of an authoritarianism upon the people when they can no longer seemingly govern themselves. Boom. There it is. I was talking with my neighbor John yesterday, of John and Brianna fame, next door. We were talking about that. What rights do the people really have? The people really have all the rights. We just don't use them. We don't express them. That reminds me of the Indiana Jones or the Mummy. The clan's still existing today. Exactly. That's what comes to mind. I've got them in my own novel. The 10 Breaths of Ra. I've got the... They're guardians, but that's not what I call them. I was trying to explain them without getting into a deep thing about it, but there's a group that guards the secrets of the past in my novel. Trying not to be too Indiana Jones-ish or the Mummy movies. It all ties into the storylines. So there you go. Yeah, Mongolia is way out of my wheelhouse too, Beth. I don't know much about it at all. So, anyway, folks, that's it. That's all we're going to do today. We've got an hour and a half-ish. I appreciate your being here, giving me your time on Sunday. Tomorrow, we're going to be back Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we're going to be talking about this whole Christo-paganism issue. Not even an issue. What would you call it? The merging, the blending, finding compatibilities within faith. I got a fly that's crawling very close to my camera. There you go. So be back all week long. My wife, Raini, goes out of town on Tuesday morning for Alaska for 10 days to spend some time with her sister and her sister's kids and husband. And they're up in Alaska. He's stationed up there. And so she needs the break. She's going to miss the kids right away. Kids are going to miss her. Flynn and Ron, they're getting a little older. They're kind of, I think Ellery's going to be the hardest one. So she's so attached to mom. So it'll just be me and the kids for 10 days, starting Tuesday. So, but we'll still do our show every night at 9 p.m. this week. So you folks, you sit tight. We'll be back tomorrow night. You have a fun day. Don't sit tight. Sit loose. Go do something today. It's Sunday afternoon for some of you, late morning for others. And I will see you back here tomorrow. And so I hope you have a good weekend. Live long and prosper.